Wir müssen gemeinsam einen funktionierenden Markt.
We must create a functioning market for secondary resources together, since otherwise a circular economy will not be possible. It is important to understand that the sales market for secondary raw materials cannot be opened up by supply and demand alone. That is why we need both smart guiding political measures on the one hand, and on the other hand, recognition from the consumer goods industry that sustainability is not just an option, but a prerequisite for staying in the market.
Sondern eine zwingende Voraussetzung für das Überleben am Markt.
At the moment, recycling industry are lacking incentive from the government. For example, VAT of 10%, making recycled material are not attractive in comparison to current virgin price. Environmental policy regarding recycling industry, which is very high standard. There are actually enough demand for recycled products. However, some ministry or local government which lack in understanding of waste and recyclables has made a banning policy on plastic product, resulting in smaller demand for certain recycled material or products. At the moment, public and some municipalities are not aware that plastic can recycle, or some product which they have used is made of recycled material. This is also due to bad publicity from some NGOs. Indonesia has about 17,000 islands. One of the main challenges is transportation costs. The transportation costs can hinder once a valuable commodity for recycling become very expensive. Because of this, then the person or waste bank or collector who are located in remote area will not be able to sell this material. Any kind of industry must have a certain equilibrium of supply and demand in order for them to work properly. The same goes for recycling industry and plastic industry. Therefore, majority of the recycling industry and the downstream industry are located in heavily populated islands such as Java, Sumatra.
The need for recyclers within the manufacturing sector have increased over the years. However, there are some barriers to a higher use or higher penetration of recyclates within the manufacturing industry. The processes to recover once used materials to produce these recyclates are sometimes extremely costly, which make the end recyclates costly, which then do not make them competitive in comparison to virgin materials. Additionally, within some markets, once those recyclates are made, there is no local capacity to transform them into an end product that is ready for market. Every manufacturer has specifications for their raw materials. Sometimes the challenge that recyclates face in competing with virgin materials is actually that they do not meet the standards for certain products or applications compared to the virgin material. This is a challenge which can be surmounted with significant research and development, as well as investment into ensuring higher quality and consistency of recyclates.
There are various reasons why the demand for recyclates is not significantly growing worldwide, even though consumer awareness, policy measures, and industry commitment have increased. Firstly, recyclates are more expensive than virgin materials for high-value applications. This price difference is unfavorable for recycling and is due not only to the low price of oil, but also to the lack of economies of scale in the recycling industry. We have been unable to break this dynamic. The lower the production volumes from recycling are, the higher the price of recycled material will be compared to mass-produced virgin material. And the higher the price of recycled material, the lower the demand. This is a downward spiral that puts secondary raw materials at a disadvantage on the market compared with virgin material. In the past decades, the real underlying costs have always been externalized in the production of plastics from virgin material. The chemical industry has enjoyed fantastic growth rates, producing basic plastic products. But this is only because the question of recyclability has been completely ignored during production. Or, in other words, the success of plastic production has been at the expense of those who ultimately have to deal with the waste products. But dealing with the waste is more complex in organizational and technical terms, and therefore more expensive than production of new products. In short, there is no level playing field, and there is no competition between new products and recyclates under the same starting conditions.
The plastic recycling industry was facing significant challenges due to the COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused several setbacks to the ongoing Indonesian movement to tackle plastic waste and move towards circular economy. A significant proportion of the recycling industry is either closed or operating in low capacity due to the COVID-19 lockdown. Only 30 to 60% of the recyclers operate during lockdown or PSBB in Indonesia. However, actually long before COVID-19 became a global pandemic, low crude oil prices were already posing significant downward pressure on the post-consumer resin price.
This pandemic is affecting all of us, and furthermore, due to low oil price has put a lot of pressure toward recycling industry. During the lockdown or social distancing, certain item has increased quite significantly, but there are items which have very low demand. For example, during the lockdown, people who stayed at home has the tendency to plant flower. Therefore, flower pots has increased quite significantly. Majority are made of recycled material. However, for garbage bags market, which are made from recycled shopping bag or shampoo bottle, has dropped quite significantly because there are no end user. Office, shopping center, hotel now are closed.
The demand for recyclates can be ensured or incentivized by doing a number of things. We spoke significantly about how the value of recycling lies in the end product and what it will be used for. In that regard, recyclates need to be promoted for use in many different end applications, high-value end applications, which will secure their value within a particular market. PET bottles can be taken back to PET bottle or into fiber for clothing. HDPE bottles can be taken back to HDPE bottles. Car tires can be recycled into tarp or materials for playgrounds and other ground facilities.
To break this downward spiral, we would need long-term purchase guarantees from the industry. For example, 3 or even 5-year supply contracts. These would enable us to invest in additional production capacity, and that, in turn, would reduce the cost of recycled material through higher quantities. An important leverage for fair market conditions for recycled plastics would be stressing the importance of minimizing CO2 emissions through the use of recycled plastics. Investigations carried out by the Öko-Institute at our company have shown that even very elaborately produced recyclates for demanding applications show CO2 savings of around 50% compared to virgin material. However, this enormous ecological advantage of the secondary raw material does not give us any advantage on the market. I don't see why. If the responsible consumption of greenhouse gases is a scarce commodity, then this scarce commodity must also be given a price on the market. Put another way, companies that produce and use secondary raw materials that reduce the burden on the climate should receive a CO2 credit. This would not be a subsidy, but a reward for sustainable action and a fair compensation for the unequal market conditions described before that we currently face. To have an impact, we need to have, above all, other quotas. Everybody pays attention to sorting quotas. If there was a minimum recycled content quota in new goods, this would be a real game changer. Products would have to be designed in such a way that they contain a high proportion of recycled materials. In the case of PET, this already exists for the EU's internal market. In 2025, 25% of recycled plastics must be used in plastic bottles for soft drinks. In 2030, this rises to 30%. This approach should be rapidly extended to other plastics and applications. Packaging for detergents and cleaning products could immediately be made from at least 30% recycled material. And this would only be the start. Packaging is by far the largest area of application. The industry's main challenge here is to move from being part of the problem to being part of the solution. And already today, companies that voluntarily go down this path and introduce recyclable products to the market, and thankfully there are several of these, are already proving successful against the competition.
To support the recycling industry, what we can do short term, we can provide financial support to the operators, support informal sectors, workers through leveraging grant and ensuring the essential supplies such as PPE or food assistance. But long term, it highlights the need for investment in the recycling value chain to support the improvement in efficiency and deploy new technology capability, advance and safeguard these sectors, and ultimately build a strong and more resilient industry for the long term.